Hello, everybody. Today is March 18th. I almost said April. Government, social, and security?
We never do 3.
I thought you said 3 just now.
Did I?
Yeah, I think you did.
I don't think I did.
I think you did. You check the tape. Actually, I don't think the tape was rolling yet.
I was doing the Vietnam dog, so I didn't register anything.
Are you kind of jet lagged right now?
Yeah, a little bit. So, fun times.
We will not be doing security today. We'll be doing social and government. And of course, government news these days, when it comes to technology, it's pretty hyper-focused, isn't it? Because there is one group of small individuals, small group of individuals, or small individuals, who are taking up all the headlines. And this one is one that we've seen many, many times in the past. And a lot of people hoped that maybe a government that had campaigned on less censorship wouldn't go here. But it seems that they all will.
TechDirt's headline is Trump promises to abuse the Take It Down Act for censorship, just as we warned. So it's like, okay, here's a law. It's written in a really wide way. It's like, oh, we need this law to do this thing. But it's like, doesn't that open the door for other thing that's bad? Yes. The answer was yes.
Now, when this is going to be pitched to you, or you're going to complain to your lawmaker about it, what they're going to tell you is, no, this is about deepfakes and revenge. But as usual, the wording may be a little looser than that.
Yeah.
So probably will be used to control speech.
He really liked the hula dancing people that look like they're of Arab descent meme, but he did not care for the Elon Musk video that featured him and Elon Musk.
Licking toes, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one. And he's like, oh, we need to use the full power of the United States military to take that offline. And it's like,
Well, no, his thing was just like, he's like, people are just mean to me on the internet. Like that, like it wasn't even about, I mean, it probably was partially about that, but it was just general broad. Like, I don't like it that people say mean things about me.
Do you think he understands and or cares that is like the perfect textbook example of the parody exceptions?
No.
For any kind of free speech?
But at the same time, it's like, if you don't want crazy stuff to spread, isn't education the fix for that?
We're far beyond that.
Yeah, I mean, I think Musk had 2 left feet in that video, so I mean, it was pretty obvious it was fake. But
decades and decades of education, we can't just like we're not going to get to where we need to go in a 6-week extension course. Is that what you're saying?
But some things are not. Well, you know what? Actually, that didn't change either, right? This group is the same as the last group in yet another way, which, oh my God. Spam! I hate those people so much. That's what our military should be doing. Bombing data centers.
We can't even get our shipping lanes clear. Never mind that.
Yeah, some things stay the same, and that $1 million may not have bought them as much as they had hoped.
Trump Justice Department reaffirms Biden-era proposal to break up Google.
I'm glad that you made that joke, because that's all I could think about reading this article. Was I was like, man, that $1 million didn't get him very far, did it? Sitting in the front of the inauguration didn't do anything either.
So if you recall last week, Google put out a little opinion piece, and they were like, hey, here's the reason you should back off on this. And apparently that fell on deaf ears. But there is one other entity who's like, yeah, you shouldn't do that, because their entire existence is dependent on it.
Mozilla's response to proposed remedies in the U.S. versus Google. So Mozilla has gotten used to getting lots and lots of money from Google to be the default search engine. And Mozilla has had some image problems of late. I really hope... I mean, Mozilla is not wrong here. They said that we really need a world where not every single web browser engine is Chrome because it is all ludicrously complicated. I agree with that. And Mozilla should, continue to maintain its thing. And it's like, well, probably, but they're going to have to put more work and focus on doing internet browser things and privacy things, and perhaps a bit less focus on the drama. I don't know. Something ain't right somewhere.
Didn't they just get a new board at Firefox or Mozilla?
I mean, we really need some sort of like a hyper-technical person driving things again.
But they don't make the line go up. The line has to go up. I
don't know that we have that. I mean, I think that Firefox could probably, I don't know, maybe they could ask for donations. Maybe it could be like Wikipedia. You go to Wikipedia sometimes and it's like, I need $5. And it's like, all right, I'll give you $5.
Well, this was a very controversial thing, but now that it's happened, it turned out to be a bit of a popcorn fart because nobody bought anything, and that's what everybody seemed to be really either hyped for or bitterly against. None of that even happened. Nothing really changed here.
The Reuters headline is Trump signs executive order to establish strategic Bitcoin reserve, and then the entire rest of the article goes on to explain how this just means they're not selling crypto that they've collected from criminals.
Although it probably does create more of an incentive for them to go after to try to seize crypto, as we've seen with seizing cash instead of drugs these days is now the focus.
Yeah, that's alarming too, because you don't have to be a criminal. It's like, oh, we saw that you took $10,000 out of the ATM. Oops, we just happened to pull you over on the interstate. Oops, that's now our money.
Prove where you got the money to buy this crypto.
Yeah.
Know your customer. And the other big thing that Trump said last week that got people up in arms was that he wanted to get rid of the CHIPS Act and sort of negotiate his own deals. And he seemed to think that that was a foregone conclusion. Maybe it's not.
The NBC News headline is Congressional Republicans don't see a huge appetite for Trump's push to repeal the CHIPS Act. So this article, it doesn't make sense. Like, why?
Wait, why? Like, why are
That's
the?
such a long way to go for that.
I mean, okay, so he wants to. Was it that he thought that the companies are going to get off scot-free?
Let me stop you right there. You used the word thought.
No, what he wants is, like, he doesn't like that somebody else negotiated that deal because in his mind, he's the best negotiator on the planet. And he's going to be able to go and get a lot better deal. That's his thought process.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with him on things like the Broadband Act, where the ISPs just took the money and didn't do anything. And it was kind of stacked in favor of larger ISPs versus smaller ISPs, when smaller ISPs could have used the money more efficiently. But the reality was smaller ISPs mostly didn't get the money.
For sure, there's bucket loads of corruption in the CHIPS Act, no doubt about it. But if we do it the other way, is it just going to be like, okay, TSMC, you have to buy a fleet of Teslas now?
Yeah, or we tariff you. Oh wait, no, actually, we're not going to tariff you. Actually, we are. No, we're not.
Why is everything a clown show? No, like, can we just, like, reasonable people? Like, can we have, like, the coalition of reasonable people?
Because people aren't reasonable. That's the conclusion I've come to. We're driven by anything but logic. And, if you hate the idea of pulling away the veneer that used to hide that from us and just showing us the raw sausage making in progress, you probably really hated this one.
The Wired headline is Donald Trump bought a $90,000 Tesla with 37 recall notices against it and some sort of... This really did seem like a commercial. I watched this. But at the same time, it's like, okay, Tesla with 37 recall notices, that's not really...
They pointed out in this article that most of those were software and not really a big thing. This is an incendiary headline, but it was also an incendiary act in the first place.
Yeah, you could have just cut off the last clause there, like with 37 recall notices. That's not really relevant.
In old internet terminology, we call this giving oxygen to a flame. It's like, you don't participate in the flaming. And so it's just like, we're going to have this big thing on the White House lawn, and it's going to be this kerfuffle. And it's like, you don't give any oxygen to that.
Also, how subtle is the red sky behind the White House in this image?
I mean, it picks up the red of the Tesla image as well, and his red tie.
It actually dilutes it a little bit. It's so vibrant.
Also, do you think, here's the engagement challenge, did he pay for that car?
He said that he did, but we know.
Probably did. I mean, he did make a lot of money recently, so I doubt he would miss that. But at the same time, they might have just, torn up the check afterwards.
Yeah.
I mean, that's worth $90,000 in advertising, don't you think?
Also, the stock did this. It was, going down, and it went up a little bit, and then it just kept going down.
Because they're garbage vehicles. How did people not realize this until now?
There's a path for them not to be garbage vehicles, like the philosophy of we're going to have a battery pack with some motors and we're going to bolt on some, crash safety stuff. It's like that should be a low-cost vehicle. That should not be a $100,000 vehicle.
Well, the tech bros, they paid their millions and they're trying to get something. Maybe all of that credit is already used up, but they are still trying to push to get more concessions from the government.
The headline here is tech execs are pushing Trump to build freedom cities run by corporations.
Let us tell you how that goes as people from the mountains.
This article basically has amnesia for the designs, too, from California. We covered the billionaires wanted to buy a strip of land in California and build exactly this in California, and then on closer examination, it turned out it was some sort of technical dystopia where gremlins in the technology were constantly surveilling and working against you. That's exactly what this would be.
This is a company town.
But let's also keep in mind that there was a governmental system specifically designed on corporate and state control working together. It didn't work out. I mean, it did for a little while.
I don't think anybody is educated enough to remember those things and say, hey, wait a minute, this thing looks awfully familiar for this other thing that failed horribly. Can we discuss like adults how this is going to work this time when it failed last time?
But here's the most hilarious thing about it. That word gets thrown around way too much these days, but we're not allowed to say it.
Is that some sort of like reverse weaponization? It's like I would like to have a reasonable discussion. Oh, a reasonable discussion, you say? Just like, I see how unreasonable this is. It's just like, well, no.
And this is continuing. Even though the hype for this has died down, it seems that there's still a lot of distrust.
The U.S. likely to ban a Chinese app DeepSeek from U.S. government devices, mainly because they're really worried that it looks like the analytics of how people use it is transmitted in plain text to analytics servers. So anything you type into DeepSeek or run on DeepSeek is running in the cloud server that may or may not be saving all of your interaction with it. But this is different than if you run the model locally. You can still download this model locally and run it on your own hardware locally, but this is something different.
This is the app.
Yeah. Now, what if I offer the DeepSeek app in the Amazon cloud and you can subscribe to that? That's totally okay. There are services out there that are running DeepSeek on American servers run by American companies, and you can access DeepSeek that way. And that's definitely not going, well, I don't want to say definitely because I don't know the company, but there's no reason that they would do that.
And here's one that played out before we had a chance to talk to you about it, and we got the reversal in a couple of days.
FTC reverses course and says it has the resources to pursue the Amazon deceptive practices case. Although I read this article after the other article where they're going to have to delay the case about something else that we wouldn't cover on here, and it's like I don't know if they're
that
going to
was this.
Well, no, it was not the FTC. It was with Army participation, and they were not like the judge was just like, you guys don't seem prepared. Let's delay this.
In this case, it was the lawyers themselves, or I guess the government department themselves, who said, no, we're not ready. I think they were just trying to get a headline, right? Like they were trying to fight back against the whole layoff thing. But then the judge, I guess, was like, well, if you're not ready, then we're going to do X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, no. We're totally ready.
I think that there was also some new evidence that come to light, and we have a different story about that, I think, in the business section for union busting stuff that Amazon was doing, but I don't know if that's going to come up in this court case. But it looks pretty damning, so we'll cover that in the business section.
You will not start reading.
Do you remember this headline?
Vaguely.
This is a new player. I think it was...
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Was it Amazon? Or some affiliation?
I thought it was the W one.
Anyway, there's a new company that wants to do robotaxis in a new way, and they overlooked some critical rules about doing that.
Robotaxis without brake pedals or steering wheels, not so fast, the feds say. So this is just saying there's no brake pedal. It's like, well, it's self-driving. It doesn't need a brake pedal. It's like, no, we don't trust a vehicle not to have a way for people inside it to stop it. It's like, well, there's an emergency stop button. Does that count? And it's like, no.
Yeah, but then if it breaks down, how do you get it off the road?
Yeah.
There are specific, like spelled out rules in these regulations. Like you have to do this. And the regulators were accusing them that's like, I'm pretty sure they just ignored that. They knew about it, but they ignored it, hoping that they could get through this part and then like keep going and not have to deal with it. Which sounds about right. And here's something that is affecting you if you're doing some Asian travel, and I would suspect maybe soon to come everywhere.
Yeah. Rules for portable batteries on planes are changing. Here's what we know. So there was another plane fire, and this was probably caused by a battery bank in an overhead compartment catching on fire.
I completely missed that story until I read this. Like, I didn't see anything about that fire at all.
Well, it was in Asia.
Right.
So,
but I mean, I would think that would still be a pretty major story.
So
In this news cycle?
airlines like EVA Air have already said, okay, you can have a battery bank in the overhead compartment, but you cannot be charging your phone.
No, it has to be within arm's reach.
Well, other airlines have said it always has to be within arm's reach. EVA says that it can be in the compartment, but it can't be on, it can't be charging. And I think that EVA doesn't let you charge at all. Like, you can't even have it. Like, you could, if you had it like in your seat back pocket, it's not supposed to be charging your device or on.
I don't know what they think arm's reach is going to do. Maybe you could like knock it in the floor and kick it to the sand bucket.
Yeah.
Well, I think they were wanting they want it to be on your carry-on, so that way people actually notice, hey, something's smoking, instead of it being down below.
That's always been the case for everything, and that's true domestically. So, like, if you're checking, they're always like, "Do you have any spare batteries?"
There should
No,
be
dude.
like an emergency pair of tongs hanging every 6 or 7 seats.
The TSA also doesn't understand the whole battery thing either, because if you have like a toothbrush and it has a built-in lithium battery, that is actually okay in checked baggage. But most airline handlers don't understand that. It's only spare batteries. So like if you have a laptop, that can be in checked luggage. But if your laptop has a removable battery and you have an extra battery, that is not allowed to be in checked luggage. But nobody understands that distinction. So you might as well just take all your batteries out. And God help you if you've got double A's in your luggage. They don't have any idea what to do with that. Even though those aren't. It's like,
Probably just throw those away, right? Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is your problem now. I'm throwing them away.
yeah, like this is not even a lithium. This is alcohol. We've had these for 50 years. These are not going to catch on fire. And they're just like, don't care.
Well, some of the lawmakers have been crying foul because, you know, that chummy relationship with the tech bros, they are now sort of fighting their fights for them. And they're saying, hey, it's unfair what is happening in other countries.
EU denies picking on U.S. tech giants. It says U.S. is also tackling monopolization. Like, yeah, these tech giants are really, really doing everything they can to just open up your wallet directly and just take out what they want.
The EU points out cases like the DOJ Google case. Hey, you guys are doing this as well.
I would say, yeah, the EU. The EU is definitely picking on the tech giants, but I think they're probably picking on them everywhere, not just U.S. It's not targeted.
I don't know. The Meta Ireland thing felt like an internal EU issue where it's like Ireland is allowing Meta to do this. Meta is taking advantage. I think you really should target the actions at Ireland, not, you know.
They have taken steps against China companies, but that's mostly because they're afraid of the imports, right?
Yeah.
But does another country have the kind of tech presence that we do in terms of other countries attacking it?
Boy, that is the joke for the EU, isn't it? It's like, what happened? There's all this freedom and none of the stuff.
Freedom in the EU.
I got a license for that.
We got a great story about that nonsense.
That's not the EU, though, anymore. Not anymore. I mean, a long time ago, Ireland EU mattered, but that's not the case anymore before we get like 800 comments. Or engage below. I don't know. It's
Yeah,
fine.
give us some comments about it. Tell us how we're wrong.
It's fine. I don't
We'll
care.
take it. The YouTube algorithm doesn't care.
But they are looking into the U.S. companies who are the major cloud and browser creators. I mean, that's just how it is. They're all here, and they don't like how they're behaving.
Final report into mobile browsers and cloud gaming published. Independent inquiry finds mobile browser markets are not working well for UK businesses and millions of mobile devices users, which is holding back innovation in the UK.
I mean, the mobile ecosystem is terrible.
I would like to run arbitrary applications on my handheld computer. It's like, oh no, that's not a handheld computer. That device still belongs to Apple.
I'm so distracted by the art in this article. Not that one. The next one we're about to read.
Oh,
It's the return of the silver Barbie.
she has become the mascot.
Yeah.
You think the robots will recognize that when they take control, and they'll be like, "Oh, the humans
She's
like
the
the
queen."
silver Barbie. Yeah, let's use her as our avatar."
I've often wondered if it was a reference to the Raised by Wolves TV series that lasted a season or two.
I don't think that made enough of a cultural
I
impact.
don't know.
But Spain is getting serious about this AI-generated content, and they say it's up to you to tell everybody that you use the AI.
Spain to impose massive fines for not labeling AI-generated content.
And this is one of those monies or percentage of your annual 38 million or 7% of turnover. So that is non-trivial. That'll hurt you even if you're Apple.
I don't necessarily know that I disagree with this. Like, I've always been okay with mandatory labeling of content.
Sure, I guess. I mean,
it'd be a great way to stop search engine spam. And it's like, this person at this domain attests that this is original content. Okay. And then when that's proven to be false, it's like it's like, oh, this organization, yeah.
But I think there should be a grace in terms of like,
yeah.
Oh, hey, this is AI. And you'd be like, oh, you're right. Yeah, I forgot.
Yeah.
I forgot to label it. And not like, hey, this is AI. You owe me $38 million.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's totally.
But let's all get out our tiny French flags and wave them back and forth because the French people have made the right choice and we should appreciate that.
France rejects controversial encryption backdoor provision. Yay!
This was the narco traffic law, which said that because we have to fight drugs, we have to look at everything you own.
Yeah, I hate that the headlines are so soft like this. It's like, it should be like France rejects controversial provision that no one will ever lock their house ever.
I don't know what kind of constitution they got, but France rejects basic constitutional rights would be the headline in this country. And this is a nice little education in terms of your past. Your digital past is no longer in the past because it's trivial for them to go back and go through it. And who you think owns it is not always going to be the case.
Saudi investment fund to pay $3.5 billion to capture Pokémon Go. He's like, hey, were you playing Pokémon Go around Langley? Good news, everyone.
Or were you playing Pokémon Go near an anti-oil protest?
I didn't realize Pokémon Go was still like... I mean, I guess people play it, but I didn't realize it was still valuable enough.
It doesn't need to be. They've got all that location data.
Remind me again, what nationality is the company that really has an amazing time defeating Apple and Android security?
Oh, one that they wouldn't like is what you're saying? I think they're kind of being friends now.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
That's a little worrying, maybe.
Yeah.
And
it's always worrying when you don't know who your technology works for.
But in some cases, much like Trump, it is a little more transparent. I mean, we're all being censored and controlled, but in some places, they don't just, mess around with it. It's like, no, you will not do this, and you will not do this during certain times.
Internet shutdowns at record high in Africa as access is weaponized. And this is because millions of people are getting involved in organizing in conflicts online. And some of it, like this article, there's really a lot of articles out there that you can read, but some of it is attributed to misinformation, and some of it definitely has to do with misinformation online. And some of it is just reasonable people trying to organize and say, hey, we don't think this is reasonable. Can we talk about this? And it's just like, no, we have to shut that down because that's makes us nervous.
I think there was a statistic in there that was like, compared to years past, I think there was like 30 some countries that had shut down internet at some point, and this year it was in the upper 50s.
Yeah.
And more per year.
Yeah.
For some of them too. Seems like if you're having an election, it's just now perfunctory. Turn the internet off, right?
One of the reasons I think that this gives us pause is we I think can see look on the horizon for an AI agent on your phone instead of, it's like, oh, we're not going to turn access off, but it's like, hey, are my neighbors organizing for us to protest this injustice? And the AI is like, no, there's nothing like that. That doesn't exist. What are you talking about?
Your neighbors are organizing an event to murder puppies. You don't want a part of that. Stay home today.
Okay, sounds good. That's where we're headed.
And then they just play like weeping puppies over a loudspeaker instead of like the tornado siren. That's what they use it for.
It's like, wait a minute, I can't trust my device to give me the truth because it's easy to just run a model like that in a distributed fashion. That's not a lot of computation. Not anymore.
And New Zealand have consolidated their health services. It seems like they've gone from more of a state-based to a federal system, and that's almost always a bad idea.
New Zealand is managing $16 billion of health department finances with a single Excel spreadsheet. And that is not going well.
This is baffling to me.
They're going through a modernization process, and I guess the modernization company's like, we're going to use enterprise resource planning software. It's like, oh, here's one of the more horrifying things that we found.
What were they doing before the spreadsheet?
Just
Trust
handing out
me,
money
bro.
like crazy. Yeah.
They also point out there's no like chain of custody. So like, some guy's got this on his laptop and he can just go home and make edits, and there's no audit trail apparently.
Did we really pay $100 million for a tea tasting committee last year? Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Now, do you guys remember when Mark Zuckerberg, he decided he was going to revamp his image. He was become a hardcore Trump bro, and he was going to do away with all of that speech restriction that was choking the life out of his services.
Facebook was hand in glove with China, the BBC has been told. We've got another story later about somebody, a Facebook insider that wrote a book. But
That's her. It's the same.
Oh, okay. This is really, really. There's a lot going on here. There's a lot to unpack. But
Let's go ahead and show that as well, because they're the same story essentially.
Meta puts a stop on promotion of tell-all book by former employee. So Facebook has stopped doing this, but for a while there, Facebook was like, we're going to do business in China. And the Chinese government said, this is what we require. And it's like, oh, this seems like a lot of very bad things. And they're like, don't worry about it. So censoring, controlling things, being able to look at groups, knowing what people are talking to, private messages, the worst things you can imagine. There's a book about it. You should check that out.
I don't think you can.
No, the book is fine. The publisher is okay to publish the book, but the former employee can't promote it.
But she was also ordered to do everything in her power to stop production of the book. But I guess that's like not her decision anymore.
Right.
Okay.
It's the
it's already been
publishing
sold.
company. So it's called Careless People. And apparently it is so insanely, like it's her point of view. And it is so, like, I have to read it now.
Yeah, they've made it worse by telling you you can't promote it. Now I want to know what's in it.
Sparked my interest for sure. She had some kind of job that was dealing with foreign entities at Meta. Now, Meta claims that she was fired for poor performance. I don't think that's
Sure.
her story, but she does seem to have a lot of receipts for the things that she's saying. I mean, I've not read the book, but whatever she's saying is bad enough that they went all out to try to stop it. And kind of won, but not really.
Yeah, it's a very hollow victory for Meta.
And Meta, as we've learned, they're getting away from fact checkers, and they're going with the X plan of community notes. And they're not just going to copy it in theory. They are literally going to copy it.
Meta plans to test and tinker with X's community notes algorithm. I love it when there's community notes on both sides. Like when somebody says a tweet that is so terrible that it gets 2 community notes. It's
I do
amazing.
love that.
Yeah.
Like I literally love that. Why not show me both sides of it? Because then I can make my own decision.
And show me the receipts and let me go read and understand.
Most people don't like that. And we've learned that Meta, in training their new AI, they played a little fast and loose with the copyright system, and they may have torrented a truckload of ebooks for doing that. And we have discovered that internal records totally prove that definitely happened.
Ars Technica's headline is Meta has been mocked for raising the Bob Dylan defense of torrenting AI in a copyright fight. Bob Dylan defense is apparently a lyric from some Bob Dylan song that is, if I steal a little bit, I go to jail, but if I steal a lot, I'm the king. And they're like, we want to be the king of AI, so we stole a lot. That makes it okay, right?
For a big enough company, it doesn't matter.
So their defense here is really thin. It's that, hey, yeah, we might have done that, but we didn't seed those. As soon as we were done downloading, we turned off the seeding. So we didn't actually distribute them. And that makes it okay.
I feel like that would not work for like a drug trafficking court.
It wouldn't work for somebody downloading an MP3.
Yeah. I didn't distribute it though.
So
that definitely was the defense in, like, you know, the 1980s and the 1990s. It's like, I just downloaded it. I didn't distribute it. It's like, okay. But the DMCA has done away with all of that.
those MP3s in the 80s.
Well, you know, other copyrighted stuff.
My MIDI.
And, as you know, Zuck, we've covered, he is trying to make his image over. He is aware that people hate him. He's maybe not sure why. And he's certainly not sure how to fix it. But he's hired some people. He's tried some things, and now he's being lampooned for that.
TechCrunch's headline at South by Southwest, Bluesky CEO Jay Graber, is that how you say it? Pokes fun at Mark Zuckerberg with a Latin phrase T-shirt. Oh, I can't remember. What was
the phrase?
His was about, it was like
Caesar or nothing, but
Zuck or nothing.
Zuck or nothing.
Her shirt is a world without Caesars.
Ooh.
Nice.
And she said, hey, Blue Sky is open source. If I ever go crazy, just fork it.
I like the omnes optant mundum regere. It's funny.
And at least when they did the poll, Musk was still more popular than Zuckerberg. I don't know if that's still true. We might need to run those numbers
They're
again.
both like rock bottom right now, probably.
But it was amazing how much more, because Musk still has like one side of the political spectrum, right? But Zuck has neither. But there are definitely a lot of people who are screaming for the blood of Elon Musk and doing everything they can to make his life miserable.
X/Twitter suffers its third global outage today. Users in the US, UK, and India report issues. Musk said it was people in Ukraine, but I don't see how that's true since most of their internet access is Starlink, or was.
I don't know if it's necessarily all the same people, right?
He's made a lot of enemies in the last 2 months. It could be anybody.
But it keeps happening. He claims that they're doing pretty well mitigating it, and these attacks are like unprecedented size. They're probably using some of those new botnets that are so huge.
One of those was TP-Link. We got a follow-up from last week. The botnet from nowhere. TP-Link devices participating in that botnet. That's not good.
Probably going to continue.
Probably going to continue, yeah.
I don't really use Twitter anymore.
Yeah.
I'm on Blue Sky now. It's pretty. They just added the ability to have more than 2-second videos, so that's nice. Because I'll be like, look at this cool thing I found. And I was like, I can't upload this. It's too big. And it's like, this is like a 7 meg movie. What do you mean you can't upload it?
Social media is mind poison.
Except for ours. Watch our show. Tell your friends.
Not untrue. Sadly.
Store at level1text.com. Bye.